Hi guys! I was momentarily starstruck by the arrival of my quota bag, as you can see in my last video, but I am here to continue the talk about all the reasons why you don't have a quota bag yet. Just before I get into that though, I have an unboxing to do because, as you know with me, I cannot stay away from the store, and as soon as I had received my quota bag, I have been to the store again and done a bit more shopping. So I have a small item in here that I've just been waiting for today to unbox for you. As many of you may know from this box size, yes, it is a scarf. Yes, a silk scarf. Now this is called the Clair de Lune 90 silk scarf. Now I saw this a while ago when it came out in a cashmere design, and for some reason I just ummed and erred on it and I didn't get it, and I sat in regret for so long. And in fact I had been pestering my essay as to whether or not something like this was going to come back, and he did say, look, it's really unlikely that designs will come back, and it usually is the case, but I was very, very lucky that they did release this again in a silk design. So this is a double face scarf, so you can see it's got this lovely caramelly tone on this side here, and then on the other side it's got a nice navy blue. So it does mean that you can use this in so many situations where you could have a little peek of both sides coming through, or you could just completely wrap it up and just have one option through. And I'm really excited to be using this as a top, just as a scarf, or even just to wrap around my hair. I think there's going to be so many great uses for this, and this does really feel so beautiful. And I just love how it has this moon, and in the moon it has this vision of the horse on it. I think it's just a really clever design. So after I bought this, I also went on a little bit of a shopping spree. Oh, just before I forget, I think it's really cute how these rolled edges bring this blue around to this side here. I just think it's gorgeous there. I did go on a little bit of a Reiss shopping spree, and I have just bought this leather jacket. Now, I didn't actually have a real leather jacket before, but I decided now was the time to make the splurge. I think I have become addicted to the smell and feel of real leather from a result of shopping at Hermes, and it was just really nice to get this. So I bought this, as well as a lovely blouse as well from Reiss too. So this is called the Renata blouse. So I'll do a few mod shots for you to have a look at those on, but they really look like some classic pieces to wear. Just a wider shot of this beautiful picture on this scarf so that you can have a good look at it. Now, I really do admire the Hermes craftsmanship in their beautiful, colourful scarves. And every time I go into the store and I see their multicolored scarves, I absolutely want to grab one. And I tried so many of them while I was in store looking for this. But I do find that even though it's amazing that with each Hermes scarf being printed, they can only do one color at a time. So each time it goes through the press, they do one color. So if you see a scarf that has like 100 colors on it, it's been through the press like 100 times to do each individual color. However, when I am getting dressed, I find it so much easier to match scarves when they are more monotone. And I find that they're less aging on me as well. So hence when I saw this double face scarf out with just two colours on each side and with such a gorgeous print, I thought, I cannot let this one go. This has to come home with me. And isn't that just stunning? I mean, look at it. Just stunning. This is the leather jacket. So you can see the fit is really, really lovely. It's worked out really nice on my arms. So sometimes I find that the fit of these leather jackets can be a little bit too loose on the arms. So this is perfect here. And I'm just wearing my new Clair de Lune scarf. I've just tied it around back of my neck and then wrapped it around like this. I really like this double face here. I think it really lends just a really cute peak of a different colour coming through, and obviously I can wear it the other way where I can have the caramel tone at the front and then the peekaboo this black at the back as well. So I'm excited to really give this a go and see what sort of different ways I can style this. And if you'd love to see some more videos of styling tips with this 90s scarf, please let me know and I can certainly do some for you. This is the Reiss blouse. You can see that there's some really gorgeous lace detailing coming on both sides here. This cute collar will look so nice even with the jumper over the top of it and the collar peeking out. And I've got some really perfect sleeve length here. Very, very happy with this purchase. So where were we? Back to the topic of why you don't have your quota bag. So the first reason that you don't is because you're shopping during a high traffic period. So we're talking about things like Mother's Day, which is quite relevant now coming up to May and Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Christmas time. All of these events mean that there's going to be a high flux of customers coming in, and especially husbands looking for gifts for their wives. So if you're going in during this time, there is a very high likelihood that you're going to be up against all the other people that are also looking for similar things to you. I have been into the store around Valentine's Day, and just as I was shopping with my SA, I saw two husbands coming in completely unrelated to each other and come in, walk into the store and say, look, I'm looking for something for my wife for Valentine's Day. I need something really urgently. Have you got a bag? And they're straight to the point. Have you got a bag? Now, of course, these guys are not going to be offered a quota bag, but if in that short period of time I've seen two people ask for a non-quota bag, you can imagine how many other husbands are in there asking, can the quota bag for my wife be fulfilled? Can you do something really, really special, especially because my wife is a very long-term customer of yours? Everyone is dropping these holidays as a hint towards their SA in the hope that they will get something special during that period of time. So, of course, they are giving out a huge amount of non-quota bags in order for these to be fulfilled as gifts, but expecting as well for a quota bag to be fulfilled, I think, is extremely hard unless you have dropped a huge amount of money or you're a VIP. So expecting or asking for your quota bag to be fulfilled around these times is really, really difficult. And if you're coming up to these periods of time, I would expect that, look, I would be waiting for these events to pass before you even think about getting that special message from your SA. Especially at Christmas time, I think that because we're coming up to the end of the year as well, the quota bags, they've already been allocated to the VIPs that are perhaps waiting for their bags that haven't received their second or even their first quota bag of the year. So I think as you edge closer and closer to the end of the year, if you haven't heard from your sales assistant and you aren't a hugely VIP customer, I think it's safe to say that you will probably be waiting for January or February to roll around. So the timing of the month can also affect whether you're going to be getting a quota bag or not. So if you drop a huge amount of money at the start of the month, yes, that can be great because sometimes they've had a huge amount of quota bags come in right at the start of the month with a shipment. Or it can be a detriment to you because it might be that they haven't received that many bags at the start of the month and they're saving them. They're waiting and they're wanting to slowly drip feed them out throughout the month. And they may make you wait a little bit longer just to see in the middle of the month if they have enough to fulfill all of the requests and then start giving them out. Now, shopping at the end of the month and waiting for a quota bag at the end of the month, yes, there is that risk of at the end of the month that all of the quota bags have been given out already. But however, sometimes there is a excess of quota bags that is left at the end of the month, and Hermes corporate wants them to get rid of quota bags by a certain time and not just have them sitting around in storage. So you might be one of those lucky ones where people have declined this bag, or they have overcompensated and thought that they were going to give away too many bags and they seem to have a few more bags left at the end of the month and they are able to offer you one then. When you are shopping at Hermes, yes, you are competing against some really high spenders. So of course, Hermes items, they come at a premium price, and when you go there, you do feel like that what you've spent is a significant amount. But there's always been someone there that has spent more than you, and whether they're before you or after you, you might have spent $10,000, but someone before you might have spent $20,000 and dropped it in half the time that you did. It is very easy to do that with fine jewelry, with watches, with ready to wear, with the furniture. Someone might have come in and decided to just deck their house out in Hermes furniture, and it's very easy for the numbers to really start rolling quite high then. So even though you have felt like you have spent your ratio and that you are ready for a bag, it could be that that month that other people just came in and dropped it hard. So they're obviously going to move up the list higher than you. So you're going to have to wait your turn relative to those high spenders. And I feel that anyone that does shop at stores where they're in an area where there is a lot of wealth, where there is a lot of money being splashed around very, very easily, then I think you've got to be quite aware of the fact that you're up against these really wealthy people when you're waiting for your quota bag. Now, something that can really set you back is pestering your sales assistant. So I do think it is okay to mindfully occasionally chat to your SA about your wish. You know, your SA isn't a mind reader. Yes, they do know that 99% of the people that are in there are in looking for a bag. Yes, we do love all the other items as well, but for many people, the dream is the bag. So they know that. You don't need to remind them every second that you want a bag. I think the aim is to try and establish a relationship that is friendly with your SA and to be remembered, but to play that balancing game of being remembered, but also being an easy customer as well. They do want a customer that they enjoy shopping with, but isn't one that is going to make their life a headache as well. So they are human after all. People are going to gravitate towards people that are pleasant. So you do not need to constantly bombard your SA with texts. And I think that sometimes when people are too desperate and it comes across as just too full on for their SA, it can really have the opposite effect and make your SA a little bit annoyed, and they're really just going to pick someone that is a bit more chill above you, because after all, it's your SA that's going to be presenting your case to the store manager. When the bag comes in and they're looking at who they're going to allocate it to, is your SA going to give it to someone who's just been like bugging them to pieces? Probably not, because they know that once they give you that bag, you're just going to bug them again for the next one. So they would really just rather let you sit on that wait for quite a bit longer. I think the mistake that many people make is that they do purchase too many small leather goods. So we're talking about, you know, burn wallets, Kelly to goes, bag charms, non-quota bags. So you're buying a Piccadin, or you're buying a Ruly, those sorts of things, and you're including that in your pre-spend. So a lot of these items are really expensive. Look, a Kelly to go is almost the same cost as a bag. It's more expensive than a Piccadin. So if you are really seriously in to play the game and to get your quota bag, I would be keeping it to an absolute minimum the number of small leather goods or non-quota bags that you are getting. In fact, if it was me, I wouldn't even get any non-quota bags at all. And if you were going to get them, I would either get them in the pre-loved market or get someone else to get one for you, or buy it online, some other way where it's not attached to your profile. Because if you have too many leather goods that are attached to your profile, so I'm not talking about belts and that sort of thing, I'm talking about specifically small leather goods and non-quota bags. If you have too many of those on your profile, it just doesn't sit favorably with the store manager when they look at it. They think that, look, you've been given a lot of amazing items already. You've had a lot of non-quota bags. You've received some really special wallets, that sort of thing. For them, they feel that, look, you've already dipped your toes into the leather department enough. They can let you sit like that for a little bit longer. You don't need your quota bag just yet. And they're going to prioritize someone else that has said no to non-quota bags and that has bought, you know, homeware, tableware, ready to wear, those sorts of things over you. So In fact, my aim is to not get any non-quota bags really until I've pretty much finished and received every quota bag that I want, because I think the time to get non-quota bags is always that time later on. Now is the time, if you're really going to focus your finances, focus it on just getting your quota bags. Buying in a spread of categories is really going to help your profile and therefore make it easier for you to get your quota bag later on. So if you are just going in and buying lots and lots of silk scarves, if you're going in and just buying lots of wallets and non-quota bags like I was saying before, it's just going to come up on your profile as they just bought from this one department. So I feel like you don't have to always buy fine jewelry. You don't always have to buy ready to wear. You don't always have to buy homeware. So you don't just have to buy for those 3 categories. But I feel like from most of the stories that I've heard, that you do need to at least have bought from one of those categories. So yes, you can buy shoes to your heart's delight and all those things, but I do feel like the categories you need to at least buy one from is homewares, ready to wear, and fine jewelry, and possibly the men's ready to wear collection. So I think that if you dipped your toes into at least one of those significantly, then you could be okay. Of course, if you can dip your toes in a few of those, I really do think it does help. But if you are just sticking to one department, if you just love all their belts and you're just buying belts and belts and belts and belts, no, I don't think that's really going to lead to a quick pathway to getting a quota bag. Now, it could be that you're just not waiting long enough for your turn to come up. So a lot of people get really impatient and they just go into the store and they just splash a huge amount of money in the first month and then expect for a quota bag to come. Now, there are these rare stories where that does happen, but often you do need to establish a long enough relationship. You know, it needs to extend for at least a few months, I feel. I think even those stories where people get impatient at 4 months, I think it's pretty unreasonable to expect that a quota bag can appear in that amount of time. So I think that you need to extend it out and at least think of it as a 6 to 12 month journey, because if you splash too hard at the start, your sales assistant doesn't have enough time to present your case to the store manager. They're also going to want to stretch things out a little bit. If you're spending really hard, they're going to want to stretch it out and try and get as much commission from you as quick in that time that you're spending. So I think if you do go in and you get really excited and you want to buy so many things, that's okay, but maybe stretch it out. You know, go every 2-3 weeks or every month and just try and stretch it out. It is really hard when you do want something. I think we live in a time where we want things immediately. You know, you go online, you see it, you want it, you just want to go into the store and pick it up straight away. And I think that is part of what makes us desire a quota bag so much. We can't have it straight away, and it is really hard to wait. So trying to think of it as a long game, you need to go in there, establish that relationship, try and drip feed to a certain extent your purchases out, just so that you do give your SA enough time to be able to show a decent profile to your store manager. So if you're looking at your journey and you're seeing that, look, it's happened too fast, it's 4 to 6 months, I'm waiting for my bag, I'm getting impatient, you just need to wait. You've got to wait your turn, you've got to trust the process. It's going to happen, you just need to wait your turn. If you haven't been exclusive to one store or one sales assistant, it is going to be very hard to have a profile that will lead towards getting a quota bag. So there are some people that have shopped in many different locations, bought quite a lot, or they've been to one location and then just come in and shopped with whoever's conveniently available, and they haven't received a quota bag. You need one store and one sales assistant batting for you. And if your sales assistant looks at your profile and sees that you have been exclusive to them and that you have come in and helped that sales assistant build their commission profile, they are more likely to go to the store manager and say, look, this person deserves a quota bag. So you have been playing the game sort of right if you've just been to the one store, because sometimes the store manager will look at that and be like, okay, well, you have helped this store a lot, even though it's with a different sales assistant, but you just probably haven't been as efficient with doing it, because it's really going to take one very committed sales assistant to look at your profile and see that you haven't just been exclusive to them, but just to the store, and then gone to present your case to the store manager. So I feel that if you are trying to do this efficiently as possible, you just need to find the right person that you want to shop with, make sure you have a good connection with them, stick to the one store, and then go in regularly to see this person. So we're talking about once a month or once every couple of months. Stick with that person, and that should lead to a successful journey later on. Now, if this is not your first bag, it can be harder to get your second bag. Now, of course, this varies. There is no Hermes rules about how much you need to spend to get your second bag or third bag or whatever it is, but often they do prioritize giving a first bag to a new customer in order to hook you in and get you addicted to that great feeling of getting a quota bag. And then afterwards, they can make you wait a little bit longer. They might wait for the ratio to get a little bit higher, just to push things out a little bit and stretch the commission that they can get from you a little bit more. Now, this isn't always the case. Of course, you can see that in some cases, if you have spent quite a large ratio for your first bag, that sometimes the second bag or subsequent bags, the ratio can get a bit smaller in order to compensate for that huge weight or the huge spend that you had for the first one. But often it seems to be the case is that if you had a fairly easy or smooth run for your first bag, that the second and subsequent bags can get a little bit harder. Now, it is said that after a few quota bags, once you've really established a long-term relationship and the SA can see that you aren't a reseller, that after that, the relationship is more fluid. It's not based on spend, but more just a good positive relationship between you two, and you don't always need to make a huge spend in order to get a bag after that, but we're talking many, many bags down the line. If you just got a bag and you're hoping to get a bag in the next month by dropping a lot of money, it is very unlikely. A lot of stores do have this policy that they will make you wait 6 months in between quota bags. This isn't always the case, because there have been, of course, some stories where people get a bag and then in a month or two they get a special order offer after that to make an a la carte bag at the store. Or sometimes within a short period of time, if they've dropped a large amount of money, yes, they have been offered their second bag, but often they are wanting to really spread out the offer of bags in order for you to continue developing that relationship, continue developing your profile, and coming into the store regularly to spend and continue your journey along with Hermes. So if you have just got a bag, yes, of course, you want that thrill, you want that feeling again of another bag offer, you are going to have to wait. The last reason is you are buying things online. So if you're buying things online, there is no specific sales associate that is getting commission for these items. There is no specific sales associate that is watching your profile in order to reward you with a bag later on. So I would like to see the online website just used as a way, it's just a portal for making purchases when you can't get that item in the store, or if you just want to make some sneaky purchases that perhaps you don't want your SA to know about. You know, if you're trying to get those non-quota bags, you're trying to, snag a garden party or something like that, and you can't get one in the store and you don't want it to affect your profile, then you can set up a separate profile and get someone else to buy it for you. Although, sometimes if it's an item that's really hard to get in store and you can't get it, for example, like a size of ready to wear or something like that, you can go into the store and ask your sales assistant to purchase it for you, and that way it can go through your profile and sit on your profile as part of your pre-spend. Now, you can't do this just by text message. You actually have to go into the store and your sales assistant has to actually do it there with you present, and then you pay for it on the spot there. And because it's going through your sales assistant and they are getting the commission for it and it's going through their profile, it does sit on your account as being part of the pre-spend. Of course, if it's a pre-spend item, not if it's a non-quota bag. So that can be a great way of having access to sizes when you can't get your size for ready to wear, or you can't get your size for shoes, or there's just a really difficult item that you've been looking for that you can't get, that happens to come up online. Of course, the online items do move very quickly, so it's going to be a matter of, you saw it that night, you're going to have to text your SA and get into the store pretty quickly for some of these items. Now, I do hope that some of these tips have come in handy to you. I present them just because I do know what it's like to be waiting out a quota bag and to be considering all the multitude of different reasons as to why I don't have it yet. And look, even though I think it's probably, 15 or so different reasons why you don't have them, I don't have all the answers. Of course, part of this is the mystery of shopping at Hermes, and I guess that's why it is such a joy to be offered and to receive a quota bag, because somehow you've defied all the odds and you've managed to come through with such a special and spectacular bag. So I do hope that some of these tips have been helpful, and I'm wishing you all the success in your journey towards getting your bag. Please comment down below if I have missed out on any tips that you feel like may have affected your journey. And of course, I'd love to hear about anyone else's journey. Please do let me know how you've gone with yours below and what you have received. And I look forward to chatting to you guys soon. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will see you. Bye.